One psalm a day, Psalm 20, a story that will make Psalm 20 come alive. The night before the battle, the wind howled through the valley like a warning. Elias stood at the edge of the camp, his eyes fixed on the distant torches of the enemy army. They were many, stronger, armed with weapons that glinted even in the darkness. Fear pressed hard on his chest, but deeper than fear, something else began to stir in ancient trust. Behind him, footsteps approached. It was Miriam, her cloak fluttering in the cold wind. She carried no weapon, only a scroll worn by time and prayer. Without a word, she opened it, breaking the silence with her voice. May the Lord answer you when you are in distress. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. The words seemed to wrap around Elias like a shield. He turned to her, his voice low. We are outnumbered, Miriam. They have horses, chariots, iron. She met his gaze firmly. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, she replied, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. There was no doubt in her tone. At dawn, the mist clung to the ground as the villagers gathered. Elias walked among them, feeling their fear but also their hope. He repeated the psalm aloud. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. The words were no longer mere blessings, they were a rallying cry. The enemy advanced, the sound of hooves pounding like thunder. Elias' heart raced, but his grip on the spear tightened. He thought of David, and of all who had faced the impossible and stood firm because their faith was greater than their fear. The first clash was deafening, metal against metal, shouts and cries echoing across the field. Dust rose, stinging the eyes, blurring the lines between victory and defeat. Yet, every time Elias faltered, Miriam's voice echoed in his mind. They are brought to their knees and fall, but we rise up and stand firm. Ours felt like days. Then, in a sudden shift, the enemy's front line broke. Confusion spread through their ranks, and their retreat began like a tide pulled back to sea. The valley, once filled with the roar of battle, now held only ragged breaths and the soft crackle of banners in the wind. Elias fell to his knees, exhaustion weighing on every bone. Lifting his eyes to the sky, he whispered the psalm's final plea, Lord, give victory to the king. Answer us when we call. The words hung in the air like smoke, drifting upward as a testimony. When the villagers returned home that night, their voices rose together. May we shout for joy over your victory and lift up our banners in the name of our God. And in every heart, the truth burned bright. The battle had been won not by the strength of arms, but by the strength of faith. Psalm the 20th of May the Lord answer you when you are in distress. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and grant you support from Zion. May he remember all your sacrifices and accept your burnt offerings. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. May we shout for joy over your victory and lift up our banners in the name of our God. May the Lord grant all your requests. Now this I know, the Lord gives victory to his anointed. He answers him from his heavenly sanctuary with the victorious power of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. They are brought to their knees and fall, but we rise up and stand firm. Lord, give victory to the king. Answer us when we call. Shall we take a moment to reflect? This psalm is a blessing spoken before the battle begins, a prayer for strength, protection, and victory. In the story, Elias faces an enemy far greater than his own people. But what sustains him is not the number of fighters at his side, but the certainty of who fights for them. Notice how the psalm begins with a wish for God's presence in moments of distress. It doesn't promise that trouble won't come, it assumes it will. But it points us to the truth that God's help comes from his sanctuary, from a place higher than our fears. When Miriam reminds Elias, some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God, she's echoing the psalm's central truth. Earthly power may seem impressive, but it is fragile. True stability comes from God alone. The imagery of rising up and standing firm is a call to resilience. It tells us that even when the world sees defeat, those who trust in the Lord have the strength to rise again. Victory in this psalm isn't just about winning battles, it's about standing firm in faith, no matter the outcome. Elias' people won the fight, but the deeper triumph was in their hearts before the first sword was drawn. This reflection challenges us. What are the chariots and horses we tend to trust today? Is it our savings account, our influence, our own abilities? And when those fail, will we still rise and stand firm? The psalm invites us to lift our banners not as a show of personal achievement, but as a declaration that our hope and confidence rest in God. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that prayer is not a last resort, but the starting point of courage. Just as Elias prepared his people with words from Psalm 20, we can prepare our hearts daily for whatever battles lie ahead. So, may we face our challenges with the same boldness, remembering that our strength is not in what we hold in our hands, but in who holds us. And when the dust settles, may we be found standing firm in faith, lifted by grace,